Uh, got it.
Good morning, Shaft. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you doing?
Good. So, for everyone who's joining us today, thank you very much for being with us and watching this interview. This is Shaft, who is, he is a character among characters. I've known Shaft for, I don't know, maybe a decade or so, is it?
Yeah, it's been a while,
It's been a
babes.
while. And Shaft teaches Tantra. He's now, he's been working doing Tantra for a long time. We did a documentary together back in the day on unicorns. He was really the one to bring unicornism into the mainstream. And we've spent some time prancing around with horns on. We have, and you did the documentary for Vice, and I featured in that as your healer, and I've helped you with a few different bits and bobs along the way. And you've been progressing your career. You're working with Mind Valley now. You've done quite a lot of television. Tell us all about you. So, Shaft does Tantra. Explain what you do, what Tantra is, and let's just start and see what happens. Thank you, darling. Oh,
Ooh. Yes. So thanks for having me. Well, I'm an entertainer and a healer. I do certifications on Tantra massage. I teach people how to hold space for people's healing around sexual trauma. And I also love being on the stage and entertaining people to love themselves. I've been on reality TV shows and getting my message, which is I love my life, I love my body, I love myself. Oh God, the cat, the cat really
cat
went
is.
for it.
Oh dear, sorry. There's my cat just was jumping on things and pulling off cables. Sorry, I love my
Brilliant.
body. Go on, continue, please.
Okay, repeat after me and your audience. I love my life.
I love my life.
I love my body.
I love my body.
I love myself.
I love myself.
So that is my mantra. My mission is if I could change one person's inner monologue from I hate myself to I love myself, I get to save one person's life. So I did the biggest self-love stunt in Swedish television history, where I went on Sweden's Got Talent and gave that message to 10 million people of Sweden. And I got a message of someone saying, I wanted to kill myself. I saw you on national television and you saved my life. I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
I mean, guess what my inner monologue used to be? I
I
hate
hate
myself.
myself.
I hate my body, and I hate my life. So this is why I do what I do.
So you flipped it all around.
Flipped it all around. Your biggest fears becomes your biggest passions. Your biggest problems becomes your biggest oof, things that you help other people with.
Yeah. Golly, so what's in the future for you? What are you up to at the moment then, darling?
I'm off to Burning Man with some of the Mind Valley authors.
Fancy.
I met them all at Mind Valley University this year, and I had a great time. And my mission is to basically get my message out there. I've created these methods where I could literally eradicate erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation for all men. I could help all women overcome anorgasmia, the inability to have an orgasm by themselves and with a partner. So that's a big thing. And I
Yeah.
want science to actually study on me, test on me, so they could show that my male orgasm, not ejaculation, is as powerful as women's orgasms, which shows that you could scientifically and biological separate ejaculation and orgasm.
Explain that for our audience, please. What's the difference between ejaculation and orgasm?
I spoke to a doctor the other day and he said there's no scientific data on what you're talking about. So they literally cannot comprehend what I've done. The only thing that he could reference was, I've heard of these sadhus, these mystics that sit in a forest for 50 years, and they could take their genital semen and ejaculate it into their minds. That sounds something similar. We've heard about this in India. So that's what I do.
But
So
it
I basically slowed things down, analyzed the data in my body, found out where the orgasm comes from, And due to the speed and the 8 years of studying my own body, I'm able to decipher exactly where orgasm comes from. It comes from your ass. And I slowed it down
Your
so
hands.
much. My ass.
Your ass. Sorry. Okay.
I can give orgasms from my hands, just so you know as well. From here. Boom. It's called energy
We'll
orgasms.
talk
Check out
about
my
that in a
YouTube
minute
channel.
because that's also
Yeah.
another fascinating subject. But yes, back to your ass.
So yeah, basically semen is created in your prostate, it's stored in your testicles, and basically that area is where orgasms generate from, and everyone thinks orgasm and ejaculation are one thing. And men love to ejaculate all the time because it's the closest they get to God. It's also the most amount of peace that they feel. And this is why we want to have sex all the time, because it makes us feel at peace. It
Yes.
releases so much oxytocin and makes us want to like have it all the time, because we don't have other methods in releasing oxytocin, which is just human connection.
Yes. So, I mean, to break it down a little bit more for our lovely audience, you can, or men can actually have an orgasm without ejaculating. They are a separate thing. So you don't actually have to lose your seed when you are having sex. And what you can do instead is have incredible orgasms and keep going, because you're not actually losing your seed and becoming soft and sort of finishing the story. Do you want to go into that a bit more detail, please, lovely?
Yes. So the beautiful thing about the art of tantric lovemaking, to master your sexual energy, to become an instant sex god, is to
Sex god.
master your sexual, oh yes, it's to master your sexual energy, is
Hmm.
to refine it so you could sublimate it up to the heart, up to your third eye, out of your crown. It's what Nikola Tesla did, it's what Einstein did, it's what Muhammad Ali did with semen retention, also
Mhm.
known as brahmacharya. But what the tantrikas did is something different. We developed a technique where we didn't have to practice abstinence from sex. Oh no, we didn't have to practice like like we don't. Our job is to have as much sex as possible and to masturbate as much as possible, to generate so much pleasure in your body that you boost your immune system, you have heart-centered sex with a partner that you love and adore and worship, one or many or yourself. And this is completely transferable from solo practice to partner practice to threesomes to orgies. Like that's the scale. And these tools work on all of the scales. So you're able to just have more human interactions because you learn how to refine and control your sexual energy. Like people would think that's just a sex addict. It's like, no, 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 no. We have a lot of sexual energy stored in us because we're generating sexual energy. So we boost our immune system and we're able to live longer, and we basically look younger because of the amount of joy, play, curiosity, human connection and love we have for ourselves and other people, and just basically the whole life thing. We just play now.
Wow.
It's scientifically proven now. It's like not any woo-woo stuff. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it. It's in the NHS website about the health benefits of good sex. Like it's the thing. It's the
But
most
does
important thing in
ejaculating
life.
weigh you down as well, though? If you're, I mean, if you're maintaining your seed, this is true, or is it also true if you're ejaculating? Because I know there's always that story about, say, footballers not having sex before a match because
Yeah,
then they get depleted. So talk about that,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, so basically, what happens to a man when he ejaculates? He builds up his sexual energy, it explodes, and then
Sleepy time.
he's in the peace mode. He's having to regenerate his energy again until he could start having sex, start living again. There's it's called the Coolidge effect, I believe. It's a scientific term for when someone
I'm just
ejaculates.
going to pause the video just for a second because I've got cat things going on. 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm introducing cats at the moment and it's not going particularly well. Sorry to cut you off. Go and Shaft, please. Continue.
So the Coolidge effect is basically where when you ejaculate, a fluid gets shot up your spine, and it tells you to rest. So you can rest, recalibrate.
I've got painters in, everything's crazy. I'm so sorry. Go on. Right, that's it. That's the end of the disturbances. You need to rest after you ejaculate, right?
So the Coolidge effect is something where you, when you ejaculate, a fluid gets shot up your spine, and it tells you to rest and recover. And it helps you to fight saber-toothed tigers back in the days. Now, I don't have that because I don't ejaculate, which means I'm like a woman. How long does it take a woman to recover from an orgasm?
Doesn't.
So which makes you women have, if the environment is right, you are already tantric, you're multi-orgasmic, and you can fuck forever.
Yep.
Yep. You're just so you know, women's sex drives are way higher than men.
Are they?
Yeah. You've just been tricked by patriarchy to get you suppressed into realizing, no, I don't have any sexual energy. No, there's no. But I'm like a woman now. So I could make love forever and ever and ever. I'm like a lesbian. I make love and I want to be with this person and keep on making love.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing for the last 8 years, just so you know.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? So I mean, I just think the audience is just going to find this hard to understand because it is.
No. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell this to your audience, okay?
Go ahead.
So here's the data. I've studied 1,000 people in 2022 this year, and I've asked my audience, men, how long does it take to ejaculate? You know, the traditional way ejaculate. They don't know that there is an option between orgasm and ejaculation. So how long does it take for a man to orgasm by themselves? 30 seconds to 1 minute. Women, how long does it take for you to orgasm by yourself? 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, right. So it's the same.
I mean, it's almost like a race when people are, you know, self-loving as well, I think. And I think that can also cause problems for men because when they're by themselves, it is just as quick as possible. And with the woman, they're trying to do something entirely different, which is trying to, you know, make it last a bit longer.
So here's the next interesting part of my research with over 1,000 people now. Men, how long does it take for you to ejaculate when you're having sex with a partner? Oh, 30 seconds to 1 minute.
That's not great.
Not a problem. Yeah. Women, how long does it take for you to orgasm with a partner? I've never orgasmed with a partner. It takes about maybe 40 minutes. So can you see the difference here? So what the data shows from my research of 1,000 people this year is men and women, they can ejaculate by themselves and orgasm by themselves 30 seconds to 1 minute, literally 100% of the time. Men can do that with women. Women can't do it with men. 63% of American women cannot ejaculate through penetration at all.
And I know what. 63 with men at all, did you say?
Yeah. Wow. Through penetration.
Penetration, right.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So that's the data. So I look at the data and I go, okay, guys figured it out because they're just masturbating inside a woman. That's essentially what's going on. Women haven't figured it out. They could be doing the same thing, masturbating on a man, rubbing themselves to get, you know, some kind of pleasure, but it's not happening. There's something going on. And I know what that is. I found the secret.
What's the secret, Shaft?
You'll have to find me on my Instagram and YouTube channel to find out more. I talk about this a lot.
Ooh, well, that's a good.
You'll have to sign.
You'll have to sign
up to my instant. You'll have to sign up to my instant sex god coaching program, which happens every single month, so men and women can understand each other. Women can make any man tantric. I have only worked with women for 8 years. I know exactly what you want because I've used your methods on me. I've heard your complaints about men. I know exactly your needs. And from that data, I'm able to provide the tools to women to make any man tantric. And men, they just don't know that there's anything wrong. They're ejaculating. They're good. They are fine. Their logical mind says, I've ejaculated, I'm good, what's wrong with me? Nothing, life is perfect. Women still have an orgasm. I know there must be more to life. There must be more to life than this. I feel it, I feel it, I feel it, but I just don't know what it is. Google Tantra, Shaft Uddin, sacredsexualawakening.com. Let's talk to him. He knows what it is because he's mastered this stuff.
Indeed. Exciting. So, okay, so how do we find you, Shaft?
You find me on Instagram. That's where I'm live most days. I'm actually and on YouTube. My YouTube's just exploded, 1 million views on a couple of my videos now. Because I'm a superhuman. I could do things with my body that people can't even imagine. I could literally look at someone and give them an orgasm.
Let's
I
talk
could
about
hover
that.
my hands over them and do this and give them an orgasm.
Yeah, those are really interesting, these energetic orgasms, and I've seen
Yeah.
videos of these things before. So you don't have to penetrate, you don't have to do anything. You can either do it with your eyes or with just sort of stroking above somebody.
There's a trick to all of it. There's a trick
Ooh,
to all of this.
tell us all
The
about it.
science behind it is we all have an auric field, an electromagnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about the heart and how it has this electromagnetic wave. All I'm doing is tapping into that field and then playing with that field because I feel everything. I'm a superhuman. I spent a fortune on becoming a superhuman. Turns out these technologies, these scripts that we got from yoga and Tantra and Taoism and martial arts, it's just basic technology on how to use your body. You don't need science, you don't need pills, you don't need expensive machines. If you just put decades and lifetimes of your work into unlocking your body, you just understand it. And
Mm-hmm.
every single human being can feel energy. There's science to this now. I don't have to like I only know the woo-woo stuff about it because I've spent like 7 years away from society. I've only just come back into society, and that's why we're talking. Like since our unicorn escapades, the last thing I do on that video, that documentary, I do my first tantra workshop.
Right.
And then the sequel to that Vice video is 10 questions that you want to ask a tantric sex guru. That's me. I literally brought Tantra to 40 million people.
Wow.
It's changed the face of the planet. Tantra's normalized now. Yoni Massage, sacred sexual awakening, the Yoni de-armoring, all this stuff is just normal now.
Is it? It might be in your world. I don't think my audience will have any idea what you're speaking about. So would you like to
Luckily, I've been in
elaborate?
Mind Valley and we had a 1,000 people orgasm.
Really? Tell us about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so when I say orgasm, what does your brain show you? Orgasm. Someone's having an orgasm. I know, guys, your brains, like I say banana, one person will see a banana skin, one person will see a brown banana, one person will see a yellow banana. Like your brains will just interpret anything.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say orgasm, what does your brain show you?
Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be penetrative in any way, does it? You don't actually have to be touched to have an orgasm, as you're telling us all about. So you can do it without being touched. Tell us about that. Interesting.
1,000 people having an orgasm in a big room in a conference
Mm.
for Mind Valley is brilliant because that's what I've been doing for 7 years. It's just normalized now. And we're using breath, sound, and movement. We're using energy, our own energy, activating our Kundalini energy. Like a lot of tantrikas, we've activated our bodies through these ancient practices, and then we've got these superhuman abilities to connect to the Shaktima energy, the energy of the earth. Turns out there's an unlimited energy source in the middle of the earth, which is like a sun. There's a sun in there, it's the earth's core, and you can channel that energy up into you, and that activates your body. So there's all these classical spiritual meditations that everyone does. It's like connecting your heart to the heart of the center of the earth, pulling that energy up, opening up the crown chakra, connecting to the Shiva consciousness, the galactic consciousness, and bring that energy in, and then expanding your auric field, your electromagnetic field. Through, remember, everything is energy and everything is imagination. And the only way to get your audience to feel this, because I could get you guys to have tingling sensations in your little finger, is doing a very simple experiment. Because this stuff is so simple, I could get anyone to become multi-orgasmic. Like it's not a problem. So what I'm going to get you to do and your audience to do is to look at your little finger. Go on. Look at your little finger, not the screen. So look at your little finger. Like there's nothing else in the world apart from your little finger. Wherever the mind goes, your energy flows. So take your consciousness to your little finger. So just look at it, breathe into your little finger. Does your little finger feel more alive now than it did a second ago? If it does, say, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's energy. Now, using your imagination, if you take that to your heart, it feels tingly. If you take it to your genitals, then you got something around multi-orgasmic experiences. But that takes a while to develop. It's like learning the piano. You have no idea what these symbols mean until you go deep into understanding the symbols.
But there are,
That's the same with the body.
I mean, the women's orgasm, I don't know, I've been multi-orgasmic since the beginning of time. And actually, if it's not a multiple orgasm, I call it a pedestrian orgasm, because it's just, that's actually the way that I refer to it, because it's just something which is just, it feels very boring without having the big one, you know, when you're used to having full body multiple orgasms, like a normal orgasm is pretty lame by comparison.
Yeah, I had a life-changing experience last night. So I don't ejaculate. Last year I ejaculated 3 times. The third time is on my YouTube channel. You'll see it. It's a live stream with my partner at the time, and we do a live sex magic ritual, and I ejaculate inside of her. Like, these women know the potency of my semen because I don't ejaculate. I do something very, very pure, very, very powerful, which is I injaculate. So when I release my seed into someone, they're getting my essence, they're getting my power. And I'm a very, very powerful man because I'm cultivating all of this power. And I'm with powerful women. So we've got these people, these humans that identify themselves as a god and a goddess. And when they come together, we have divine union. Something magic happens. Your audience probably only understands Pornhub fucking and matrix sex. What I do is I've turned that literally is a world like eating junk food. I'm in another world where we focus on enlightenment, mental well-being, longevity. I mean, I'm 42 and I'm just getting stronger and stronger because I have a lot of sex with magical, powerful women, where we've turned matrix sex into sacred sex. The sole reason we are strong is so we can make love for a lot longer than 3.5 minutes, which is the length of time an average man takes to ejaculate. 3.5 minutes, like seriously? Seriously, that's sadly the truth. So what I do is we create this energetic energy to, like, we build it up and we merge together. And this year I ejaculated, first time in many months, and I used that ejaculation for my mental well-being. This month I've been suffering a lot of judgment from a lot of people. For some reason it's really peculiar why it's happening. I don't understand it. So
it happens when you get more into fame. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's
because
exactly.
You've done that Mind Valley thing. You're more eyes are on you, and so you've got more entities and things like that. You're being attacked from more places because there are more eyes on you. Every time you level up, there's going to be that sort of thing. It's just
so it's really it's really annoying.
Well, I mean, I can fix all that stuff. I'm the other side, aren't I? All of that judgment and all of that brain chatter and all of the psychic attack. That's something that I can deal with.
So I've had a lot of that. And one day I get a terrible message and a really horrible, nasty message from someone where I'm trying to become a speaker at their event. And then I get a beautiful message from an impact millionaire saying, wow, you've made my day. What do I focus on? Person I don't know or someone who really likes me? I focus on that one. So basically, this is the issue I've been facing. Now, yesterday and the day before and the day before, I'm making love. And I pray in the art of tantric lovemaking to overcome judgment. Now, I've spent years in the limelight and I spent thousands of pounds in therapy. And it was only last night during this week during lovemaking, I set the intention I want to overcome judgment. During the lovemaking, we go into non-verbal space and we just channel all this energy. And through this amazing experience, I get the download of what's the opposite of wanting to overcome judgment is to become free. So I am a free man. I am free is what my body starts chanting to himself. So it's like my subconscious is reprogramming itself in a very vulnerable open space whilst making love and imprinting myself with a new program rather than everybody hates me to I am free. I'm free from judgment, but I don't use the word I am a free man. And then randomly the next day we find a church that is called the Church of Judgment. I go and pray in that church to, I pray to God. I pray to all the gods. Like I love all religions and I pray. And in a state of prayer, you have a different brain state where things just flow through you. And I'm praying to overcome this judgment. And then last night, I meet another lover and we have sex. And for some reason, I'm like, can I ejaculate inside of you? I don't usually ejaculate unless I feel really bonded with someone and there's a calling, or if a powerful woman wants my essence and wants my semen. During this ejaculation and this orgasm, I have an experience like bufo or ayahuasca, where I release so much grief, so much trauma around this judgment.
Wow.
I understand why I've been suffering from social anxiety for 4 years. It's because I'm scared, petrified of being judged by other people. And this is stopping me from like talking to everybody because I think they're gonna like attack me or something. And I'm able to release this during this insane shamanic experience. And this orgasm lasts for about, it felt like 10 minutes. And this was the first time I ejaculated for a long time. So that's the power of your sexual transmutation, how you could transfer trauma into something beautiful.
Fantastic. So I know you're polyamorous, you have multiple partners. So how does that work? And do people get jealous? You know, my audience, I would think would be quite unfamiliar with that sort of relationship. How does that all sort of play out?
Well, I'm very, very fortunate that the world's catching up with all this stuff now. Will Smith's daughter, Willow Smith, is bisexual and polyamorous now. The people I met at Mind Valley, their children are all bisexual and polyamorous now. So everyone's going back to our default setting. Did you know that we're all bisexual and polyamorous? Yes, we are. We're not the 5% of mammals that aren't. That's not us. We just got
5% of mammals aren't.
5% of mammals are polyamorous. Sorry, monogamous. It's basically the whole. So the statistic is only 5% of mammals are monogamous. We are not that. We're not part of that percentage. So we are actually built and designed to be bisexual and polyamorous. That's the life we lived before religion, before capitalism. And if you just look at, like, if human history is that much from the moment we were Homo sapiens to now, a hairline is monogamy.
Right.
and religion, because it came together. Religion, it's all about suppressing women's sexual energy, just so you know. We tricked women
Well, I mean,
to
there is a
think.
part of like bringing up children and making that easy. If you're in a monogamous relationship, then you have got stability for children. So there is a safety element as being a woman who's then looking after the kids and can't necessarily work, and or someone has to look after the kids, whether they have nannies or family or whatever. But someone needs to be there the whole time, and someone needs to be providing money
We got
for these
tricked.
things.
Look at this. I love this. So just
Probably.
imagine. No, because this is how it is. Imagine being in a community where you
Yeah.
are in a relationship with multiple people. Then parenting isn't just on one person. It's on two, three. It takes a village to raise a child. So I
My
choose
mum thinks
that.
that's lazy parenting. I've said that to my mum before, and she said that's just lazy parenting. But I think it might
Remember,
be more rounded in a way because. Hmm?
I mean, they're still doing it in the Amazon. Like they're still doing it everywhere. It's just like polyandry is the chosen form of relationship in Nepal. Women have a harem of men and they take care of the land because there's so much land that they have, and they raise the child in a big tribe.
So
It's
they
it's
have
just
one
the way
woman for
it's.
lots of men, or how?
Yeah. So the way polyamory statistically, the longest lasting relationships are one woman, many men.
How
So
does
did you
that
know
work,
that?
like balancing wise with the number of people? Because assumedly you'd have the equal number of men and women, or is that not it?
So any dynamic is possible. The one woman two man dynamic is the longest lasting one statistically. The classic harem of what people think one man loads of women is actually really hard to manage. Like you know how crazy women are on that one time of the month. Everyone syncs up their menstrual cycle to the most powerful energy in that pack of wolves. So they basically
Okay.
have. So a man has to somehow deal with this harem who are on their menstrual cycle. But if you study Tantra, women actually harness their menstrual cycle for potency, magic, and manifestation. That's actually when they're least craziest and the most powerful. And that's where you do sex magic together. It's harvesting the moon energy,
Mm.
connecting to their cycles, and eradicating menstrual pain for all women through sex magic. It's just a different world. I mean, I remember I'm coming back into society. I worked in advertising for 20 years, working on major brands like Coca-Cola, Nokia, and Guinness and Smirnoff, and having my ads put all over London. Like, I work on results because I've got a business corporate background. I just look like I mean, I literally used to walk around my office like this, and I'm weaving the worlds together. Now there's just science to all of this stuff now. So if you want to
Hmm.
evolve faster than any other person, because we've got the rat race, you all know how to win that, burn out. Then you've got the enlightenment race, you know how to win that. It's also burning out and realizing you've got brainwashed again. Rat race, enlightenment race is another great form of brainwashing. It's only when you have your awakening, from your awakening, do you look back and go, fuck, I just got fucked over again. And then you join the impact race,
There's
and that's where
many
I am.
traps.
Many traps, many traps.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
So,
traps, and there's a lot to learn in all these different things.
so polyamory, basically, it's the fastest path of evolution. You have to learn how to hold your inner child, express your desires and needs to another person who also has a little child inside of them, and another one, and another one. The only way you're ever going to get good at polyamory is mastering yourself and being so good at being in a relationship that from that space, from mastering relationships, can you only start mastering another one. It's not fucking around. It's not being single. It's actually being in loving, connected relationships. The way I describe it is if I'm a king and it's a chessboard, every piece of my chessboard is a queen. And that's how I build my empires.
How many lovers do you have, or how many people in a relationship with currently?
It's been a funny year, but only this time because I have to live in 3 month cycles because of fucking Brexit. I only have two at the moment. I
What do you
function
mean? You
best
have
at
to come back
three.
to the UK,
Yeah.
and they've also got multiple partners as well, or how does that all work? How many people are in the harem, as it were?
Yeah, they could do whatever they want. Like it's freedom. Like, have your lovers. I got my lovers. Let's all be together. Let's all work together. Let's flow together. Sometimes they don't have lovers. Sometimes they do. So it's like it's completely random.
And you work best with three. And how often do you see them? Every day, or are you with people most of the time?
I got 5 planets in Virgo, so I'm highly structured. So I have more time than any human on the planet. So I just have a lot of time. So I could just slot people in the 24-hour time frame that is a human's life in one day. So I have a lot of I prefer seeing all of them all the time, but everyone else has got jobs and I'm me. I got life figured out.
You do sound happy. Are you happy these days, Shaft? That's one of the most important parts.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy. It's been the weirdest fucking year of my life this year, but in this moment in my life, I have everything I desire. I have a beautiful ashram in the city, a place where we create impact, a place where people come together and fall deeply in love with themselves and sing, I love my life, I love my body, I love myself. I'm saving people's lives through helping people overcome their sexual traumas. I've literally had life-changing shamanic experiences with my clients, and I just helped people graduate into becoming healers and therapists. So life is good. I have a sense of belonging here and have a huge sense of purpose here. And I've got two beautiful, hot tantric CEO lovers. So I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. See, the thing is, the most important thing I think in life is a sense of purpose. So they have a statistic and they say, which year are you most likely to die? And it's within a year of retirement because people lose their
Mm,
sense of purpose. So if you have
mm,
a sense of purpose, and also I think that if you have a sense of purpose and you're actually of service in some way and helping people
mm.
evolve and grow and become better versions of themselves, then you feel good about yourself and you feel happy. And then that generates everything to be the best version of you, just to be of service in whatever capacity that is.
I think it's two things. It's belonging and purpose. Because through
Yes.
purpose, you get the belonging, and from belonging, you're able to find your true essence and you cultivate. Like, you could only do it if you're surrounded by good people. If you're surrounded by negative people that say, oh, I wouldn't do that if I was you. No, 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 you don't want to do that. Do this instead. And people giving you fucking shit advice. So I always say, surround yourself with better versions of yourself. Because before you diagnose yourself with depression, anxiety, and stress, just make sure you're not surrounded by assholes.
Agreed,
And that's why I'm never in the UK.
100%.
That's why I'm never in the UK.
Are there too many assholes here?
No, I just haven't found my tribe.
London's tough. I think people have part of the reason that I've left London is because I do think people are becoming more lost and less happy and less kind. And I'm very pro kindness, and I just think that
Mm,
people are so overloaded and so stressed. To actually be able to be giving and to be kind and to be outgoing with things, you need to have enough within you to be able to then give. But if you're stressed and overwhelmed, you just become more and more insular and tighter and
yeah.
smaller, and you've got nothing to give. And I think London breeds nothing to give. Down in Cornwall, where I am now, everyone's a lot more open. People aren't so stressed. People aren't working in these, burning out, as you mentioned. And even the Amazon drivers or whomever comes, even all the delivery people are just happy and smiling and nice and
Mm,
kind. And you just walk into the supermarket and people are just smiling. It's a different thing. I just don't think
yeah.
London does that. And I went on the tube recently on London, and God, it was awful. Everyone just looked like they were about to, I could just, well, I mean, I obviously can sense energy, and there was just so much depression and anxiety. Everyone was just so small. And you come here and everyone's just living their best life.
There's an advert on the tube which says, "Do not stare. If you do, you'll get arrested for sexual harassment." So you can't even look at anyone
What?
anymore. Yeah, just Google it. TFL staring advert, and all of these sexual harassment stuff comes up. So obviously, well done, you're doing great. You're protecting women and men and everybody. But now the level of separation is insane. When I saw those adverts, it reinforced my social anxiety. I was like, oh, I found it hard enough to connect with people. Now it's illegal to look at someone. Shit. It's terrible.
Well, the problem is, I mean, there is a lot of things about consent, and I know within your
Yeah.
community that is one of the things which is
Highest.
it's very, very important, especially when
Yeah.
you have orgies and various different things like that. People have to be open and not creepy.
Yeah.
So it's getting that balance between things.
Yeah. I mean, I've recently seen some articles and been in London, and there's some documentaries being made around the high number of orgies that are happening in the UK now. It's common knowledge.
Really?
It's super cool and super cool and trendy now.
I mean, you've
Fascinating.
been on the forefront of that for a while now.
That's 11 11 years in the game.
Yeah. So what's going on? I mean, I know there's things like killing kittens. What else is going on?
There's all these
Orgy-wise.
yeah, orgy wise, I heard there's all these pansexual Gen Z type of things happening, like for young generational the weird kids basically. And I'm like, what? Okay, fascinating. So there's all this Ista tribe doing stuff as well. There's a whole thing. I don't I'm not in London, so I don't even know what's going on. But yeah, there's apparently it's kicking off. It's the cool thing to do now. And it's at festivals and things.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I
sexual
mean, for
health is
me,
one of a really important. Go on.
yeah. For me, that's a good thing, because in these sex positive communities, sexual health is of the highest priority. Boundaries and consent is just drilled into people, so everyone knows how to say no, and everyone knows how to say fuck yes, and everyone knows how to say, oh, that doesn't feel right, how about you do it like this? So everyone could actually express their desires. They're in a position of power and empowerment, rather than being in a position of British politeness and go, oh, no, that's fine. You can do whatever you want to me, and I'll just have to deal with that when I have to see Shaft and get a Yoni dearming session after all these years of trauma, because I suffer from a thing called British politeness. That's a social conditioning from our country. Every country has a social conditioning. That's the saddest one from our one.
People do. I mean, I have a number of friends who it sounds like they've been raped because they did something they didn't really want
It's
to
because they've been
do
raped.
because they felt awkward. And it's it's a bit of a grey area, but it's very sad when I hear about it. And they said, oh well, he sort of wanted to, so I just sort of went with it, and I didn't really want to. But they hadn't ever expressed to the guy that they really weren't into it. They hadn't done that, so they just put themselves in this really difficult position. The guy's none the wiser, and and the girls felt very bad about it. And had they spoken up, I'm sure everyone would have been okay.
So here's the thing, everybody watching this, I want you to just think about the things that you put yourself into. So here's a classic thing I have to hold space for. Woman, man meet. They have sex. Man's had a great time, he goes home. Woman, halfway through, starts to feel a bit like, oh, I really don't want this to go any further. I wish I could say stop. I'm not going to say stop. I'll just go with it. And then she walks away feeling more and more humiliated, more and more guilt, more and more shame. And then she feels like she's been raped. And then she goes around
Mm.
telling everyone she's been raped. This guy, everyone, I've had the most amazing sexual experience. She was so beautiful. She was so hot. It's amazing. She squirted. She orgasmed. It's great. This woman is locked in herself and suffering from depression now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a situation where I've had to get these people together and have a conversation. He is literally none the wiser, and she's devastated. He then becomes devastated because he doesn't want to rape someone. He just didn't know anything about it. So now all of this is out in the open and they're able to have a resolution. This part doesn't happen anywhere. In my community, it does, because I'm the guy that's holding space for these people.
Mm.
Because it's the
difficult.
forefront.
It's difficult, and it happens more. It happens a lot. It's very. It's
Well, it's
very
actually not
sad.
difficult. It's actually not difficult. If people talk about it, it's not difficult. If people actually
Yeah.
speak to each
No, but
other
it's difficult. Well,
rather
yeah,
than
people need to
gossiping,
just
then
express.
it's not difficult. If it's common knowledge for people to actually have a sharing afterwards, have a closing ritual after sex, which is what we do, then it's not difficult. It's just hardwired in the tantric community to actually have transparent communication around sacred sexuality, have strong boundaries around these very, very vulnerable spaces. And it's just run by women who have a lot of power. It's I've been in the someone's trying to call me. I don't know how to deal with this. Decline. So so yeah, it's a matriarchal society, and it's women who own their desires, and it turns out women have way higher sex drive than men.
Speaking of which, you just mentioned squirting. So, Amrita, have they discovered what it is yet? So, Amrita, to our audience, is squirt. And last time I spoke to you about this, they didn't know what it was or how it was produced. Has the research advanced on that at all?
I spoke to a doctor literally a couple of nights ago, and I said, "What is it?" And I recently helped a woman. She doesn't feel any sensation at all inside of her yoni, and I gave her a yoni de-armoring session, which releases all the sexual trauma and
Yoni is a
attention from.
vagina for the Yoni is a vagina for the uninitiated, in case that's a missing word from your vocabulary, and lingam is the penis. Continue, Shaft.
Thank you very much to clarify that. So my mission was to give her more sensation inside of her yoni. And I de-armored through a simple method called trigger point release, and then she squirted. I did the Anubis, which is a tantric move, and I could hear the sounds. My finger gets sucked into certain points because I have these powerful fingers that have been inside the most sensitive parts of thousands of women now, and they feel the space where the Amrita comes from. Like, she literally sucks me in. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, it's like, and like, they call me the Yoni whisperer, and the vagina literally says to me, "I'm ready to squirt." So I make her squirt not once, but I lost count. And she's in this huge, vast ocean of her own Amrita. Now, she's been to the toilet already, and I knew she was going to squirt. And I said, "Go to the toilet so there's nothing in your bladder, so you could just relax into this, because what's going to come out next is not piss." Now, she squirts so much that we're literally swimming around in it. I leave and carry on with my life. I check in with her the next day, and I said to her, "Isn't it interesting that when you got home from after your session, that the bed was completely dry?" Completely dry. And she said, "Yeah, I found that really weird." And she's got like, she's got children, and they've been babies, and when they piss the bed, it's wet. When you spill drink on your bed, it's wet, and it's like wet for ages.
Yeah.
Squirting fluid dries like that.
That's weird.
It's true, right?
I haven't really
It
thought about it.
evaporates.
But mate, you might be right.
No, I'm right. Trust me, because that's
I've
my
never
job.
thought
I've been
about
in the
it.
field for years. Yeah. So it dries quicker than any fluid ever. So it doesn't make sense what it is. It's definitely not piss and it's not water. So I asked this doctor what it is, and he said it's cum with some urine. So whatever cum is
I
made of
know that's not,
is
but I
that.
think it comes from somewhere else. And like, I wonder if it's sort of stored in a, like, I mean, like the bulls would
It's
store
not
semen, or
stored. It
whether it's
cannot be
produced.
stored. Yeah, it's produced.
It's produced at the point of orgasm, and I mean, it's almost like sort of divine lights coming through you, and it's sort of projecting. I don't know. Tell me.
Yes. So my theory is, because did you know that men can squirt?
What's the difference in a man squirting and a man ejaculating? Then I have no idea.
So women, they produce pre-cum, which is a wet lubrication, the wetness. Women get wet. So let me compare. Women get wet, men produce pre-cum. That pre-cum
Yeah,
is
they have a little
produced,
dribble.
yeah, produced for the semen to swim through the penis into the vagina, because it's been that tube has been used for urine, which is quite acidic. Semen is like alkaline, so that pre-cum clears the tubes so these little fellas could survive and swim to the woman. Lubrication, so these guys do the same thing. Then you got cum, and women's cum and men's cum is pretty the same. Men's cum is like just a lot more. Women's cum is also a lot. It's like thick white. Now, Amrita and squirting for men is also the same. It comes from like for the men, it's like comes from the prostate, and for women, it comes from the G spot and A spot, and it gets built up and you squirt. Like I met a guy on the underground this year, and randomly he came up to me and said, "I squirted." I was like, "Who is this guy?" And he comes up to me and says he's doing crunches on in the gym, and he produces all this fluid, and then he lies down and starts convulsing, and all this fluid comes out, and he has no idea what's going on. He obviously Googles it, and on Reddit it says he's had a coregasm. His core has contracted so much, his anus has contracted so much, his inner buttons, our inner buttons are prostates, your inner buttons are your G spot. They compressed and connected, and all the buttons are pressed, and then he squirted. And I
My
was like, this is
goodness. So what's
fascinating.
the viscosity of this liquid? Is it the same? Is it like very liquidy like Amrita, or is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So what I've heard is like it's plasma, it's white blood cells, it's like a bunch of stuff, but it gets produced. It's not stored, it's produced when this area is stimulated in men and women.
And also, I mean, I've looked into it previously, and they have said that emperors used to drink it to extend their life. They thought they used to sort of milk women,
Yeah.
as
They
it
have
were,
these
and then
special
that was
beds.
supposed to
Yeah.
go on. Tell us about the special. How? Tell us about this
I
then.
mean, there's these paintings of these Japanese empresses, emperors having these special beds that, and these women producing amrita, and they capture it and drink it. Like Genghis Khan, all the great, powerful empire builders, especially in that part of the world, they used to use oracles and mystics, women, to like how kings and great men were forged was by these women, by these dakinis. I've been and seen these things. Like I've seen these witchy women do these witchy things. It's very much like in the film 300, where they consult these oracles and they're like, they do certain things, and I've been in these very shamanic experiences where these women had done these things to me, and I've had past life regressions. So yeah,
Wow, very
it's fully
interesting.
witchy stuff. Like
Right.
it's it's nothing out the ordinary for people doing magic. It's like quite normal for us, and it's what it was like before religion, patriarchy, and capitalism. It's just paganism. It's just connecting to the earth, using the earth, the water, the sea, the nature to connect to themselves. That's why they had to burn all the witches, because they had to like get rid of all that. And that's in like a lot of women's field. It's like, oh no, I must conform. And who brought into monogamy? More women. Who wants to get out of monogamy after they've realized their sexual energy is like way more than for one man? It's women. Like everyone that I've met when it comes to being divorced, it's the women who wanted more sexual experiences and more sexual partners have left their men because they are unsatisfied. The divorce rates are higher than ever because women, they realize there must be more to life. And that's why I'm working with so many women and activating their yonis, and they have these shamanic experiences, and they their fire ignites, and then they become more radiant, more healthy, more younger, more vibrant because of these sessions. It's just a fact.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, we have very different views of, well, ways of doing things. You know, I'm doing the enlightenment game from the healing perspective and awakening the systems, but intrinsically it comes to the same. It's just you've taken one road and I've taken another. So that's
And they all
awesome.
both go the same place.
Beautiful and brilliant. Yeah, we're
Same,
getting to
same,
the
but
same place.
different.
I do think same but different. I don't want to go on too much longer because I am conscious I want to keep it to around an hour so people don't get overloaded. So where can we find you, Shaft? Is there anything else you want to say? And then where can we find you, please?
I just want the world to sing, I love my life, I love my body, I love my life, I love myself. That's basically Tantra. That's what I boiled down to using my advertising brain. So everybody, for 108 times a day, say, I love my life, I love my body, I love myself, I love my life, I love my body, I love myself for 21 days and see what happens. Outside of that, find me on OnlyFans, The Shaft Show. Outside of that, check
You've
out
got
my
an
YouTube
OnlyFans.
channel.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, babes, I've fucking done it all.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, find me on
Wow.
OnlyFans, The Shaft Show. Find me on Instagram as well, Shaft Uddin, and find me on YouTube, Shaft Uddin. And if you want to know more about how to become an instant sex god and book a Yoni Massage with me, check out sacredsexualawakening.com.
So, but Yoni massages assumedly have to be done in person. You can't do them virtually, and you're in Finland, is it? Or am I wrong?
I'm going to be in England for a couple of months before I leave. But yeah.
Right. So yes, when you actually coming to England, darling?
Still don't know, but you know, Burning Man, LA. I want to get famous. I want my own reality TV show. So let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Wow, towards the end of the year then.
I'll be back in
Cool. Well, thank you
September,
so
October.
much.
I'll be back in
Okay,
September.
well that was an easy
October,
answer.
so yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's been enlightening and very interesting, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to my audience today. Thank you very much, Shaft.
Thank you so much. Love you, babes. Mwah.